Welcome to Dodgers Daily. I'm Casey Porter. I'm so glad that you decided to tune in. Hey, we have a great show for you today. Very, very busy. AA Tulsa, they started last night. AA Tulsa, that's a team that I think might be the most talented minor league baseball team in all of baseball. LA had a big win last night. Oklahoma City had a big win. It was a great night for the organization. It was a lot of fun to follow, a lot of fun to watch, and I'm going to have a lot of fun putting this podcast together. I hope you have a lot of fun watching it and listening to it too. But hey, before we get into all that, just a reminder, if you like this video and if you like this kind of content, go ahead and click that like button, leave a comment, tell all your friends about Dodgers Daily, become a subscriber, and then after you subscribe, click that notification bell, turn on your notifications. That way, every time Dodgers Daily releases a new video, you will be notified and you won't miss a thing. Dodgers Daily will keep growing and we can keep providing you content and videos like this in the future, something we love to do. Okay, so like I said, LA had a big win and Oklahoma City won and Tulsa won. So it was a great night across the board for the affiliates. Rancho also won 3-0. Maddux, Bruns, and Campos threw very well for them. So we're going to talk all about the big night for the organization all the way up and down the line. And so let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it and let's talk Dodgers baseball. Well, fans, what do you think about the Los Angeles Dodgers game? We're going to start with them before we get to all the affiliates. Of course, Great Lakes, the high A affiliate, is the only team in the organization that has not started yet. They start today on Saturday, so super excited about that. Austin Brubaker actually will be at that game. He is going to report for Dodgers Daily. He's going to get a lot of good video and a lot of good, a lot of just scenes from the action, pictures, and that kind of thing. And in the future, going to snag some interviews for us, hopefully. And so very excited about Austin Brubaker covering that. Okay, LA scored 1 in the second, 2 in the third, and then they had runs in both the 6th and the 7th inning. The story, I think, was stolen by Dustin May, who was just simply fantastic. Okay, check this out. He had 100 miles an hour once with his sinker, and then he hit 99 on 9 different occasions with his four-seam fastball. So, man, I'll tell you what, I've said it a couple different times now, but Dustin May has the best raw stuff. It was kind of fun last night because you had him and Emmett Sheehan. Of course, there's a lot of big fastballs in the organization, but the two fastballs that I think are the most explosive when you talk about, that not just the velo, but you're talking about just kind of the gangliness, that the motion of Dustin May, it's like he's just slingshotting, then just whipping that ball into home plate, and then he's long and rangy, so, he gets down the mound, so he's, 60'6", he gets down the mound, hell, it might be 54, 55 feet by the time he releases it. Emmett Sheehan threw last night as well. We're going to get into him here in a minute. We're going to see video of him. But those two guys, both very long. Emmett Sheehan was hitting 97 last night, at least as far as I was reported to on the in-house radar gun. I did not see any of the StatCast data. What I was told, he was hitting at least 97 is what I'm saying. It may have been hotter than that. He has reached as high as 99 in the past. So those two guys, in my opinion, there's a bunch of big fastballs, but those two have the most explosive, and I'm not sure which one's more explosive. Of course, Dustin May was 99 last night. Emmett Sheehan was 97. So I say 99. Dustin May, let me back up. Dustin May hit 100 miles an hour once with his sinker, so when you're talking about two-seam coming 100 miles an hour, that's insane. Okay, very, very, very good performance for Dustin May. Again, he went 6 innings, and he gave up just 1 run. He struck out 5, and he walked just 2. So, when you talk about that strikeout to walk ratio, you want to have 2.5 to 1 ratio there, 2.5 times the amount of strikeouts as you do walks. He had an average against. Okay, so, as far as the D-backs, whenever they put the ball, not necessarily put the ball in play, but what was their batting average against Dustin May of all the hitters in the evening? Just 114. The D-backs just hit 114 off of Dustin May last night. His whip is walks and hits per inning, which if you follow Dodgers Daily much, I love this stat because that's telling you how many base runners you get on base via the walks and hits. And so, hey, even if you're your ERA is good? Are you allowing a lot of guys on base, and maybe you're having to work out of jams? Are you being, it tells you about not just the effectiveness, but the efficiency too. Okay, his whip last night was 0.57, so he was allowing about a half a base runner an inning, which is absolutely fantastic. And his ERA on the year is 0.69. I have video of its entire performance on all my social media platforms, so go and check that out. Dustin May, a wonderful performance last night. Okay, so he stole the show. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think about Dustin May. I've been telling you for quite a while that I think he is almost all the way back from Tommy John. I think he has almost all the feels back, so super excited about what he's going to bring. Okay, some of the positional players before we get into Evan Phillips, who closed the game. We're going to talk about him here in a minute too on the pitching side, but let's move to the position players. Freddie Freeman, what more can you say about him? He had a home run, he had an RBI, and check this out, he had 6 total bases. And I love that total bases stats because that tells you, hey, you're on base, and how much pressure are you putting on the defense? How many chances are you giving your teammates to drive in a run and score you? So I love the total bases. I always try to put that on my post on my social media platforms as much as I can, because total bases to me just shows the amount of pressure you're putting on the defense and the amount of chances you're giving your teammates to drive you in and score runs. So 6 total bases for Freddie Freeman. He had a home run, he had a double as well, he had an RBI, multi-hit games. Okay, so boy, this is an amazing stat, so check this out. You should be familiar with multi-hit games with Freddie Freeman, because between the regular season last year and the playoffs, he had 56 of them. 56 multi-hit games last year between the playoffs and the regular season. That is just simply incredible, an unbelievable stat for Freddie Freeman, for an unbelievable player. He's an elite human being off the field. He's an elite player on the field. Just a wonderful player for the Dodgers, Freddie Freeman. Okay, you have to be impressed with the rookie, James Outman. I could go on and on and on about him, and I have in the past, so I won't bore you with all the backstory details of him, of where he grew up and all that kind of stuff. I'll just simply say this. Again, I've said it. He loves the big moment. He went 2 for 3 last night. He was on base 3 times, and the thing about it, that is, he's not a great base stealer. That's not necessarily a big part of his game, but being on base, he does have good speed, which means he's able, just stealing bases doesn't make you a great base runner. Can you know when to advance? Being a base runner, I'll put it as simple as possible. The way I was taught is, hey, how can I get to the next base, in the most efficient manner without making an out? And he's very good at that. So he's a good athlete. Although he didn't steal a whole ton of bases, still a good base runner, James Outman. Okay, he was on base 3 times last night, which is a big deal because, like I said, he's a good athlete with good speed. He had an RBI. He's hitting 353 so far on the season. James Outman's OPS is 1287. Okay, so how's he doing compared to maybe the rest of the guys on the team? He's 3rd on the team in hits and RBIs. So he's 3rd best in hits and RBIs on the team. He's 2nd in on-base percentage and OPS. Okay, so he's getting on base. All right, so when you look at that, he's tied for 3rd in hits and RBIs. So he's getting on base and he's driving runs in. Okay, he's also getting on base with his on-base percentage. He's 2nd on the team in that. He's also explosive at the plate. He's doing damage. His OPS is good for 2nd on the team. I just went over that just a minute ago, over 1,200, and he's 4th in batting average. So he's hitting for batting average. He's getting on base. He's also doing damage, as his OPS numbers would show, and he's also 4th on the team in slugging percentage. So, he's complete. His offense has been super complete so far. I think you've seen what I've been preaching for the last 2 or 3 years. I put several videos out on him. The best part of his game is his defense. He is an absolute plus defender at the major league level. Okay, his speed is good, his footwork is good, his arm is good, his reads off the bat are good, his, just his mechanical structures, as how he transfers from a catch into, they don't really crow hop a lot anymore. That's kind of an old term, but how he goes from the catch to his footwork into the throw is immaculate. He knows all the scouting reports. So James Outman, again, another big night last night. He is very, very, very exciting to watch. Okay, one at bat that I want to pick out of a big game. Of course, the Dodgers scored 5 runs. That was a good win, and I'll get into some of my thoughts as far as how last night excites me as much as some of the other games. Okay, Christaylor, go to one of my social media platforms and check this out. Christaylor hit a 79 mile an hour fastball, or excuse me, he had a 70 mile an hour hit with the exit velo on it was 79 miles an hour. So why am I bringing that up? Because, every time Christaylor hits a home run, it seems like it's always over 110. So why am I talking about a hit that he had with 79 miles an hour? Well, for one, it was with 2 strikes, which tells me, hey, he had a 2-strike approach. He was looking just to put the ball in play. We know, if there's a criticism of Christaylor offensively, a couple of them, he's too streaky, 1, and 2, he strikes out too much. So good to see him just going to put the ball in play mode with 2 strikes. For 2, it wasn't a home run. So with 2 strikes, he just put the ball in play, which means it was not a boom or bust type mentality. And for 3, the biggie, here's the biggie one for me. Okay, the ball was up in the zone. And that pitch that's up in the zone is the one that gets over Christaylor's barrel, and that's the one he swings and misses on a lot. So the fact that the ball was up in the zone, it was with 2 strikes, and it was a single. It wasn't a boom or bust mentality. It was a pitch up in the zone. Because he wasn't a boom or bust mentality, he was able to cover that top of the zone, and he got a base hit on it. So I was very excited about that. And then evanphillips came in, and he closed and did a great job. And, hey, as a kid, I was always taught, growing up, whenever you get the lead, I was taught to get the lead, and then as a pitcher, make the game boring. Just kind of make the game go away. Don't give the other team any kind of spark. Don't do anything that might wake up the dugout and get them excited and give them energy. Just kind of zap the energy, just kind of like a boa restrictor, just kind of just squeeze the life out of them as the innings go on. And, that's kind of what evanphillips does. He just goes out there and it's not, I've talked several different times, the difference between cheerleading and leading. There's massive energy when he pitches. He has competitive energy to spare, trust me. Although he's not rah-rah cheerleading. That's the kind of intensity that I like. I don't mind the rah-rah and cheerleading. It's not necessarily my favorite thing to watch in baseball. I think that's fake energy. I think the competitive energy that evanphillips brings is just fantastic. And because he's not rah-rahing and all that kind of stuff, he kind of makes it boring unless you're a Dodgers fan, and it's very fun because you're winning games. Okay, so he's 2 for 2 on save opportunities this year. Okay, and I'll give you some numbers about, just how good he has been. He has been absolutely Mr. Automatic. He makes the game boring because it's like everybody knows, at least to this point. Of course, I don't want to jinx him, but to this point, the game's pretty much over when he comes in. Okay, check this out. Again, 2 for 2 on saves this year. He's yet to give up a run this year, and he did not give up a run in 26 out of his last 27 outings going back to last year. Again, evanphillips, Mr. Automatic. He comes in with the Dodgers have a lead. He makes it boring. He doesn't give the other team a spark. Just does his job and uses that, what they're calling this year, they're calling it a sweeper. They've called it a slider in the past, so trying to get away from maybe the differential between a cutter and a slider. So give it a new terminology, call it the sweeper, but whatever you want to call it. It's that slider-looking pitch. It's absolutely elite for evanphillips. So he did a great job last night. So again, the Dodgers, a big 5-2 victory last night over Arizona. Dustin May got the start. So it was a great night to be a Dodgers fan. So, hey, that's my recap of the LA game. Now, hey, it's time to take a trip down on the farm, and let's talk about AAA Oklahoma City, who was in action last night. Let's talk about AA Oklahoma City, who was in action last night. And let's talk about Rancho, the Single-A affiliate of the Dodgers, who was in action last night. And then tomorrow, Great Lakes gets started. So, hey, fans, let's not waste any more time, and let's take a trip down on the farm. Oklahoma City AAA, the affiliates of the Dodgers, scored 2 in the first inning, 1 the 7th. And then, hey, they scored 2 exciting runs in the top of the 9th inning that actually gave them the lead. Steven Duggar got that hit with 2 outs and 2 strikes on him. The Oklahoma City Dodgers were down to their last strike, and Steven Duggar delivered a 2-run single to give the AAA affiliates of the Dodgers, the Oklahoma City Dodgers, a 5-4 victory last night. Mattandriese, that you're seeing right here, got the win on the mound, and it was a very professional performance for him because he gave up a 3 spot in the second inning, which is kind of tough. That's early on, and it's early in the season, so, there's wild swings in statistics. You're seeing him pitch on your screen right now. So, that's a little disappointing. You go out and give a 3 spot, and so if you're not as mature, not as professional as Mattandriese is, you might let that affect your emotions. It might shut you down for the whole night. It did not shut him down at all. As a matter of fact, he went blanks the rest of the way and extended all the way out to 4.2 innings, which a lot of times, in a 162 game season, the biggest part of a performance, I like that little slider-looking cutter-type pitch, that 4-seam that rides right there for Andriese. There's another little slider/cutter pitch. A lot of times, the biggest part of your performance is that you just stuck in there and you gave length to your team so you don't wear out your bullpen and your pitching staff can stay fresh over 162. So very professional outing that Mattandriese gave up the 3 spot, but then just bared down. He knuckled down and got through 4.2 innings. He gave up, like I said, those 3 runs on 5 hits. He had 4 strikeouts, no walks. And so, like I said, Mattandriese, a good performance for him last night in the sense that he got through it. He got through that inning. He gave his team a chance to win something that they did, and he went 4.2 innings. So good job, Mattandriese, last night. Again, the Oklahoma City Dodgers win 5-4. Well, got to get my daily drewavans in, and here's an awesome sequence last night. I just thoroughly enjoy watching these sequences from Avans. You see him get a base hit right here. That was at the end of a 7-pitch at bat. So he wins a 7-pitch at bat. The count was full. He fouled off a 3-2 pitch and then deposits that hit after he fouled off that 3-2 pitch on the 7th pitch of the at bat, and then he went opposite field with it. I can't tell you, as a pitcher, how demoralizing that is, okay? And I'll tell you how demoralizing it is. Watch this. This next, I'm going to play the full clip here. Michael Bush on the next pitch. Watch, he flies out to left field. Hey, no big deal. Just a routine fly ball. But check out what happens. I mean, this ball is, 20, 25 feet off the track? Now watch drewavans. He just tags up and takes second base. How about that? So drewavans, he got on base with a base hit on a 7-pitch at bat, fouled off a 3-2 pitch, and then hit the next pitch into left field. Then he tags up on a routine fly ball to left field. And then so now you got to know the pitcher is completely blown up about having a guy in scoring position on what exactly has happened. So the pitcher not giving his full focus to home plate, probably being quite a bit frustrated with the fact that drewavans has generated 2 bases off of him. Watch the next pitch. It goes in the dirt. Drewavans extends to third base. So you talk about get him on, get him over. Drewavans has done just that in this sequence. And then now watch this. He scores on a sacrifice fly. So wins a 7-pitch at bat, advances to second base, tags up on a routine fly ball to left, moves to third base on a wild pitch, and then scores on a sac fly. That is drewavans right there in a nutshell. That's why I love watching this young man play. Well, here was the show. Steven Duggar was down to his last strike. There were 2 outs. The Oklahoma City Dodgers were the visitors. They were losing by 1 run. And what does Steven Duggar do? He deposits that ball into right center field. A 2 RBI, 2-out, 2-strike base hit to give the Oklahoma City Dodgers the lead, something of which Brian Hudson came in. He actually was already in the game. Brian Hudson, though, finished the bottom of the 9th inning scoreless, and because of that, he got the win. Brian Hudson did. Brian Hudson, 6'8", had a good pitching performance last night. And so Brian Hudson gets the win on the mound because Steven Duggar deposits his 2 RBI, 2-out, 2-strike base hit. That gave him 2 RBIs and the Oklahoma City Dodgers the lead. So that was a show right there. Steven Duggar gave Oklahoma City the win. I was so excited to get the AA Tulsa season underway, and the reason is, I had put an article out there about how talented this team is. Tulsa is quite possibly the most talented minor league team in all of baseball. Don't believe me? Just go read that article. Look at the top 50 prospects that are on the roster. Look at the guys that are already on the 40-man. I'm going to leave some off, but I'm going to go ahead and try to name a couple. Andypages, Jonny DeLuca, and then you have Yorbit Vivas. and you have Eddie Slater already on the 40-man. And then you have Jose Ramos that started in left field. Hey, Cody Hosey is finally healthy again. He's manning third base. He's a first-round draft pick. And then you have Brandon Lewis, who led, the entire Dodgers minor league organization in home runs per bat in 2021. And then your two catchers are Diego Cartaya that you're seeing here, who is a Dodgers #1 prospect. And then your other catcher is Carson Taylor, who was drafted in the 4th round of the 2020 draft, who was I believe in the top 20 last year of Dodgers prospects, but fought injury in 2022. So dropped off a little bit as far as the rankings just because of injury, but he's going to have a big year as well. And then when you look at pitchers, I mean, my gosh, Tulsa last year, they led all the minor leagues in average velocity per pitch at 94 miles an hour. It's not going to change this year. We saw Emmett Sheehan last night after Landon Knack. He was throwing 97 already. Landon Knack can heat it up to, 96. And then you have guys like Nick Nastrini, Nick Frasso, Cole Percival that are all approaching 100 miles an hour. Then you have left-handers like Alec Gamboa, Lyle Lockhart Jr., Jacob Candleberry, Ben Harris, who I think led the world in strikeouts per innings pitched last year. So this Tulsa Drillers team, if you haven't seen them yet, if you haven't made plans to go out to One Oak Ballpark and check them out, make sure and do it, because this is an amazing assembly of talent. I was so glad to see Landon Knack have a good performance last night. Matter of fact, it was a really good performance for him. And the thing about Landon Knack is that he's always been a very highly rated prospect in the Dodgers organization. And I tell you what, he's fought injury and he's lost some weight. He's shaped his body a little bit differently this year to, access the zone a little bit better. And he is super motivated to show everybody why he has always been a very highly regarded prospect. The young man out of Johnson City, Tennessee, you got to love that. Went to Walter State, which is a fantastic JUCO out of high school, and then eventually transferred to East Tennessee State. Had the big 2020, didn't get drafted until after his last year of college. Has been a big prospect. He is a 4-pitch strike thrower. As a matter of fact, last night he threw 54 pitches. 37 of them were strikes. He gave up no runs in 4 innings and just 2 hits. So super excited for Landon Knack. I cannot wait to follow his progress this year. I'm just telling you right now, I think this young man has a lot to prove. I think he's on a mission, and I think he's going to have a great year. You are looking at Jonny DeLuca's first home run of 2023. It will not be his last, though. He hit 25 home runs last year. I don't think people realize he actually had to end his season last year due to injury. Never made it back. And so when he had 25 home runs, he had plenty of time to get to 30. As a matter of fact, if he just would have stayed on the pace he was on, he would have had 30 home runs easily, okay? So he was on his way to 30 home runs, and then he also had 17 stolen bases. He was easily going to have 20. So there was just almost a slam dunk. If he didn't get injured, he was going to be a 2020 guy last year. And 13 stolen bases was not out of the realm of possibility. It would have been, it's an outside shot. I'm not going to sugarcoat it any differently than that. But, there was a chance that he could have become a 30-30 guy last year. And especially, if you're late in the season and you say, hey, I only need 4 or 5 stolen bases to be a 30-30 guy, then you might take a few more chances, especially seeing that Tulsa had already qualified for the playoffs because they won the first half division last year. So Tulsa had already qualified for the playoffs. If he would have approached, 24, 25, 26 stolen bases, coming down the stretch, he probably would have been more aggressive trying to get to 30. So, outside shot last year, being a 30-30 guy, that's the kind of talent that Jonny DeLuca has. 5-star guy. He was a long jump champion in high school. Just a fantastic athlete, great speed, great arm, great power, can hit for average, a true 5-tool guy. Jonny DeLuca, there's a good look at him. This is Yusniel Diaz, and if you're thinking, that sounds kind of familiar. Now, why does that name sound familiar to me? If you remember the Manny Machado trade a couple of years ago, Diaz was actually in the Dodgers system, and he was traded in that trade that brought Manny Machado over to Los Angeles. I say it all the time, when you have high-quality human beings, very talented young men, the Dodgers like to go get those guys back. We saw it with Trace Thompson. We've seen it a couple of different occasions. So Yusniel Diaz, welcome back to the Dodgers organization. And how about this? In his first at-bat back with the Dodgers at the AA level. He hits this home run right here, the first home run for AA Tulsa of the year. And then the DeLuca home run that you saw actually was back-to-back to this Diaz, so I kind of have him backwards in this video, but Yusniel Diaz hits the first home run for AA Tulsa. He hits a home run, and his first at-bat back with the organization. Jonny DeLuca went back with him, okay, and the Dodgers signed him again in free agency back in November. He is a .261 lifetime minor league hitter. His OPS is .750. He's an outfielder that the Dodgers went and got. Again, they're familiar with him. And like I said, right there, good look at his first home run, at his first at bat back with the organization. Okay, I know you think I might be exaggerating when I make statements like, hey, him and Sheehan might have, him and Dustin May might have the two most explosive fastballs in the entire organization, maybe because you haven't seen a whole lot of him at Sheehan. If you remember, he struck out 8 guys in a row. Look at that changeup. He struck out 8 hitters in a row, and the hitter from the Arizona Fall League. Look at the ride run. I know that wasn't a strike, but so his fastball, I'm telling you, between Dustin May and Emmett Sheehan, I'm not sure which fastball is more explosive. Probably Dustin May by touch right now. He was hitting 100, but look at the ride and run on this. Okay, look how long Emmett Sheehan is. Look how well he gets down the mound, so he has great extension. It's like he's handing the ball off to the catcher, and then he gets that arm side run to it. Look at that nice little tight cutter slash slider pitch. Who knows what they're labeling it. Look at that right there. That four seam up in the zone. That is a very, very, very explosive pitch. Another four seam. Look how it's getting that run back into the righty, and just look how late. There's another one right there. Look, they're always late. It is an explosive fastball. He hit as high as 99 with it last year, and then there's that little cutter pitch. That's Eddie's Leonard. Again, Eddie's Leonard never gets in a hurry. Just always, under control and gets it there to his target. Look at that ride in on the lefty. Very explosive fastball. Emmett Sheehan last night, at one point, he had sat down 12 hitters in a row. Look at that ride and run right there at the top of the zone. I'm just telling you, that right there is legit, especially when you compare it with that changeup. We've seen the tight slider. This young man, Emmett Sheehan, there's that good ride and run. I know that wasn't a strike, but you saw that arm side run. Then he straightened it out just a touch there. There's some good run to that pitch as well. Okay, so Emmett Sheehan, put this guy, in your memory bank, because this guy is absolutely 100% completely, totally, and entirely big time. I talked about the 8 hitters that he struck out in a row in the Arizona Fall League. Well, last night he sat down 12 hitters in a row for San Antonio, and 6 of those 12 that he sat down in a row were via the strikeout. So I know, like I said, a bold statement that between him and Dustin May, they might have the 2 most explosive fastballs in the organization. I'm telling you, that's not an exaggeration. He gave up no runs in 6 innings, and he struck out 5 innings, and he gave up no runs, and he struck out 8 in 5 innings. And like I said, at one time, he sat down 12 in a row. 6 of those were strikeouts, so Emmett Sheehan, super, super explosive. Hey, Andy Pages, look at him. Dennis Higgins, the great Dennis Higgins, who does all the play-by-play for AA Tulsa, said that he went to the workout and on what is today. Last night was Thursday, so he went to the workout on Wednesday, and he didn't even recognize Andy Pages because he has lost 35 pounds. How about that? He looks great. Okay, and last night he had a big double. Then he hit that deep, deep, deep fly ball to center field, and we know he has the huge power. He led all the Dodgers minor leagues in home runs in 2021. He got his first RBI last night. There's that double that we're talking about, but his first RBI came in that long fly ball we just saw a minute ago. He has big power, and I'll tell you what, go to some of my social medias. I have several videos of him throwing a baseball from right field. Watch his arm. It's graded out. The scale is 20-80, with 20 being at the bottom, 80 being at the top. It's graded out. His arm has a 70 grade arm, which I don't know how they came to that, because if there is an arm that's better than Andy Pages, I would like to see it. If you don't believe me, just go and watch it. I've got plenty of video of him throwing the ball. I don't know how you could have a better arm. So if he's not an 80 grade arm, I don't know what an 80 grade arm is. Boy, I love that power right there, because he has an absolute cannon. He has a world of power. He's trimmed down 35 pounds, so now he's a much more explosive, quicker, faster athlete. So Andy Pages has set himself up to have a big 2023. Rancho scored 1 in the bottom of the first inning. They scored a single run in the third, and then a single run in the 8th inning. And hey, Come to find out, that run they scored in the first inning was all they were going to need because they used two of their big arms. There's Maddux Bruns. This is not from last night, but look at that big curveball. Maddux Bruns and Chris Campos teamed up to blank Inland Empire, which is always a fantastic thing. Anytime that you can beat Inland Empire, you know, that's obvious a great thing. Look at that little sweeping type pitch by Maddux Bruns. So you've seen video of Maddux Bruns. I wanted to show you also a video of Chris Campos. Again, this is not from last night, but I did want to give you a look at, you know, the type of pitcher he is. The young man out of St. Mary's. He is pitching only. He was a shortstop as a Gale in college. Great athlete. Got a chance to talk to him. Wonderful young man. So Chris Campos, I wanted to show you some video of him. Again, the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, they blanked the Inland Empire last night 3-0 behind Maddux Bruns and Chris Campos. So there you have it. There's the rundown up and down the organization for the Dodgers last night, starting with LA and their big victory. Hey, it's very rare that, of course, that, you know, the Dodgers system is totally loaded. I always say that. And so they have great players and great teams. But even having said that, it's very rare that all the affiliates that were actually, or at least in action last night, won their games. That happened last night. Oklahoma City had an exciting one. LA, they had a good win, grinded one out. And then, like we said, Rancho Cucamonga, they won 3-0, and the Tulsa Drillers, behind great pitching, they won last night as well. So it was a great night in the organization. I hope you enjoyed the show for today, going over all of the action in the organization, and I hope you tune in tomorrow. And just one last reminder, if you like this video and if you like this kind of content, go ahead and click that like button, leave a comment, tell all your friends about Dodgers Daily, and become a subscriber. And after you subscribe, click that notification bell. And after you click that notification bell, you will get notifications. That way, every time Dodgers Daily releases a new video, you'll be notified. Dodgers Daily can keep growing, and we can keep providing you content and videos like this in the future, as we love to do. As always, I'd like to thank you for tuning in and say, go Dodgers.